So let's take a look at making a simple drawstring bag for the We So Love projects. We use them for a variety of things, and they're very simple. Typically, we just have one big rectangle, and you're going to fold it and then assemble. So your kit will have the rectangle, and it will have a t-shirt piece. Now, the t-shirt piece is going to become the drawstring. Imagine us using t-shirts. So if you get it and it's not stretched, it's very easy. Just pull, give it a good pull. And if you're cutting them for us, you're cutting them at 1.5 inches. All right, so someone will have serged around the edges. And for those who are doing that job, if you're working with a piece of fabric that's got a salvage edge, you do not need to serge the salvage edge. So those are always kind of like a little bonus. Now, here's how I prefer to start, because you all know I'm all about the shortcuts. And I also do not like the job of stringing this cord through a casing. So I start out by folding the side seam edge under. So you see how I'm doing that? Fold it under, doesn't matter how far, I mean, don't get too carried away, but I'm doing about 1/4 inch, a healthy 1/4 inch. And then your rectangle is always going to have enough for you to fold 1 inch over. And then I stick it under the sewing machine. And let's use a 10 stitches to the inch straight stitch. And we're gonna go a little ways, and then I'm gonna back stitch because this place does get some stress and strain as people open and close the drawstring. Then once I've secured it and I've got my needle down so my project stays put, I'm gonna go to the other end of that rectangle and I'm gonna fold that other edge in, and then I'm gonna fold this down. Now the trick is, do not sew through that cord. If you do, just pick those stitches out and then restitch that little section. So we're going to stitch our way across. A zipper foot works really great for this, but again, you know I'm all about doing it quick, so that would require changing the foot. But if I'm going to do 50 of these in a day, I'm probably going to change a foot. Okay. So now we have to sew and I'm going to double check by pulling my drawstring through. I did not stitch down, yay. Now we're just going to fold it. And you will find this is going to be much easier because see, we're going to have to sew into a folded area, right? So let's do that last. Let's start on the bottom seam. And what I prefer you do is start in about 1 inch, then go backwards, then come forward. That avoids having little tails that might pop out to the outside and make a hole. So I'm going to start here. First thing I'm going to do is go backward and then forward. You don't need to do it more than once, just go backward, then forward. And then we're going to come to the corner. We're going to do a 90-degree pivot, and I am going to get in here and pull this out as far as I can, and you'll see we do not have to get all the way up to where this stitching happened. It'll be good. So now I'm just gonna work my way in. I'm not gonna make a mess. And I just went backward a little ways. And let's see what it looks like. I'll clean my strings up, of course, but let's turn it the other way and see. We are not going to cut those corners either. We're just going to leave them in there. If we cut them, that just makes the bag vulnerable to coming apart. So, all right. So you see how where that joined up, I don't need to be all the way up here. This is great, and especially if I backstitched a little ways. So now we can pull that bag shut. Perfect. That's going to be a really colorful little bag. So what we are currently putting in here are menstrual pads, and each girl gets 4 pads. And I've got 4 samples here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we simply fold them in a little bundle like that, tuck them in, and then cinch it up. We don't really tie a knot or anything, we just leave it like that. So the reason we make a tiny little bag like this is so that the mission teams have room in their luggage for a bag for each girl, and it doesn't weigh a whole lot, it doesn't take up a lot of space, and if we don't give them a bag, their modesty makes it difficult for them to want to take the pads home. So they do get a bag, they can reuse it, it meets everybody's needs. So simple, you can whip out a bunch of these in no time at all.